I was living in East St Kilda with a gentleman, and I was in a bad mood one morning and decided I'd had enough of my living a daily abyss of scoring heroin every day. So I premeditatedly looked for an expensive car and threw myself in front of Kenneth Frederick Lang's car, and luckily for me he slammed on the brakes and pulled to the side.
I was quite shaken up by it, if you want the truth.
Up until then I was using different drugs from 17 to 27 that I hadn't tried heroin. I was using marijuana, alcohol, cocaine.
I discovered that both her parents were drug users, that she'd been abused both physically and mentally. She still loved her family in spite of what they had done to her. Her father in particular would sit her on his knee and they would smoke marijuana when she was 6.
Eventually my sister and an ex-boyfriend pressured me into trying it, and I thought long and hard about why I actually tried it first. 1, peer pressure, and 2, my sister had had 3 children to 3 different men, and 2 were taken away from her through Child Protection Services. So I wanted to know why and how someone could put a drug before their own child. So I wanted to understand. And of course it came at a cost. I was hooked for 14 years.
The people that she was mixing with were all of that calibre, and no one, and I mean no one, was prepared to help and guide her.
We also referred to each other as drug buckets, and you met mean people and you did bad things to yourself and with each other, and nice normal people didn't understand that we had emotional pains from childhood abuse that would make us self-doctor to get out of the pain. I'd go to St Kilda and meet other people to waste the day together, and I used my entrepreneurial skills for specifically self-destructive streak to waste the day and not have to live in my own head and heart.
Plus, of course, she was unstable in many different ways. She would leave home and wouldn't be back for 3 days. Then 2 o'clock in the morning, I'd get a knock on the door. It's me. So I'd open the door and in she'd come again. And I'd think, what do I do? Do I give her another chance? I was always saying that, and I've been saying it for 20 years.
Luckily for me, I had Ken to help me finance it, until he and I both reached a point when I was 40 where he asked me to choose him or heroin or myself.
If you want to continue the heroin, by all means do so, but it won't be in this house. You have to go somewhere else. I'll pay the rent if necessary, but I don't want you near me or this property.
I had run out of chances and opportunities from Ken, and to be brutally honest, I was finished manipulating him and being an opportunist, and I could see I was hurting the man and it wasn't helping me. I didn't want to be self-destructive anymore, and I could see a bigger picture.
I'd reached a point with the heroin where I couldn't handle it anymore. So I told her, I said, you have to choose between me and heroin.
And I chose him and myself, and to quit using heroin. He gave me an ultimatum, which I feel was necessary at the time, and it made me make decisions that I found difficult to make, but out of that became positive changes for me, and I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. From that point, my life turned from living on the dark side of the moon to the light side of the sun. I have bipolar with schizoaffective disorder, which I lived in denial of for about 3 years and didn't want to accept that was my illnesses. I thought I just had drug and alcohol problems. But when I got real with my psychiatrist and psychologist and accepted my sentence, as I put it, then I was able to embrace help and work on my changes for the better. So my mental illnesses were very controlling of me, and psychosis would often happen I smoked a lot of marijuana, and my health was at risk all the time. I was playing Russian roulette every day without realising that at the time. I think after you've had adversity, you can turn that into an advantage, because I believe life is what you make it, and you need to have a healthy attitude. I rang different phone numbers and went to Moreland Hall, that's now called Regen, and then they instructed me about mental illness, and I rang Northwest Area Mental Health Services and saw a duty worker, and at the time dual diagnosis wasn't being done at work as core business, so I went back and forth to the two services trying to help myself. There wasn't one-stop shop, there wasn't a holistic health, client-centred care theme. And in the last 9 years, Summit and Regen have made progress, and now it's part of core business. I was able to see meaning in my life and that I mattered to another person, and I didn't want to sit in the corner anymore and be someone that didn't vote. I wanted to get back into the society that I belonged to, and I wanted to feel like I belonged. A lot of my past, I felt lost and not connected to other people, and through the work I do now, I've got community connection and value and purpose and meaning. It's very good for me, and I do care very much about the cause, so I persevered and was able to pick up the pieces after being an ex-drug addict, having 2 mental illnesses, cancer in remission, and I think working for Northwest and having a real sense of purpose helps me stay positive, focused, and concentrate on stuff that I love doing, which is helping other people.
If you're trying to tell people to do things, you first of all got to find something that they love, respect, revere, something of that nature. And then you've got to try and attach what you want to do to that person, to that situation that they hold dear. Not what you do or what anyone else does. It could be their bookcase. But it's got to be something that they love, that they value, that they respect. And then it's from there you've got to find your connection to get them to stop.
I would recommend Regen for a start, and I would do it lead by example. Explain to them, if I can do it, you can do it. It's a choice. I hope you don't have to hit rock bottom and lose everything and everyone before you decide you're worth helping. And I'm in mental health to help people that want to help themselves. And the only real dilemma that I still think about for mental health is how many chances, how many opportunities do you give the person, because how many do you give them? But for me, if I hadn't been given all those chances and opportunities, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I do believe people are worth helping.
To close it up, in all walks of life, we all have problems, we have things we have to do. So I have a motto of my own I've lived by all my life. Get up at 9 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever time you get up, and do the best you can at everything you do for the day. When you put your head in that pillow at night, win, lose or draw, you know you've done your best, you'll sleep well. And that's what I do.
Just that I believe life's what you make it, and it's important to have love and love someone and to be loved, guidance, and to give guidance to others too. It's important to coach people but not mentor, because I believe in respect and equality, not looking up at someone or down. That's why I liked working with doctors and telling them my story, so they realise that what they're doing is real and they're not superior to patients and patients aren't inferior. That's what I like to, in essence, concentrate my finish about, because I think it's important we work together on the same page. I'm a much happier person today than I was 9 years ago, and I'm actually looking forward to having a 50th birthday. And if you'd spoken to me on my 40th, I would have said to you, I can't make it to 51.
To this day, I was extremely happy with the outcome and the difference between the beginning and the present. And it was well worth the effort.
I'm ecstatic, actually, over the moon about it, because I've been able to live since the 8th of November 2005 in a positive way with quality of life that I've never had before.